Well, good morning. And this week we've been showing St. Anne's Church in Lewes as our feature because the good folk there are trying to raise £20,000 to repair their flint wall, which stops the churchyard falling into the street. A very worthy cause. And that is the Flint Church of St. Anne's. St. Anne's Without, actually. It's proper title. St. Anne's Without in Lewes. Good morning. I'm Keith Hayes. This is Mirador Television, and with all its faults and its little peccadillos, we bring you some pretty important stuff to do with not only our society here in Lewes, but for its impact and the impact that the world has on our life in this small town. We have this morning at 10 o'clock Philip Meredith, who hosts our very popular program Jamboree, which is a free flow chat about anything and everything. At 9 o'clock, we have John Prideaux and artificial intelligence and some of the interesting things that he's getting up to. And until then, we've got me, Mr. Keith, with just a little bit of this and a little bit of that to ease us into the day. I see that the camera has become a little bit dislodged overnight. Well, let's see if we can do something about that. Now, I've had a nice coffee this morning with those lovely people down at Cafe Nero on Lewes High Street. Bridget, my lovely friend, brought me the paper, and the two young ladies served me coffee, and I tried a new type of cake, one with white chocolate and raspberry sauce, and it was delicious, absolutely delicious. I would recommend it to you. It's a lovely day out there. Let me give you the official weather. 20 degrees today, sunny and a gentle breeze, not a cloud in sight, not a raindrop in sight, and apparently somebody was telling me, although I haven't seen the official statistic, that this is the driest May on record so far, or at least the driest spring. And I can well believe it. We've had some gorgeous weather. Whether it means that we're going to get it all now and no summer, who knows? Quite often, the pattern is decent weather in the spring and a lousy, lousy summer. But who knows? We've seen some very odd things recently, not least of which the international community stood on its head, as our correspondent Quinton Peel outlined yesterday. Very strange goings on. But we've also seen some odd things in terms of environment, global warming, non-global warming, all sorts of different things. And maybe we're going to see a summer period in which we will get more sunshine than less. That we will say that was a summer and a half, because we certainly had some pretty nice weather so far. Beware though, the mornings are fresh. They are fresh. No, don't lose sight. What we're trying to do is, we've got me back. Yes, that's what we were trying to accomplish. What was I saying? Never mind. Oh yes, the morning fresh. So do be careful when you first go out in the morning. It isn't a heat wave. Far from it. Far from it. Now, before we go to the 9 o'clock deadline, and it's now a little after 10 past 8 in the morning, let's just familiarize ourselves with what's going on in the world via the newspaper headlines. And we should, rather than have me scouring the newspapers and boring the hell out of you, just have up a little sign telling us what on earth is going on at the moment. So there we are. It's news time. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. I don't do these things terribly well. However, the two generic headlines to come out of the BBC are Starmer's scramble after Albania snub and fastest growth for economy. Now, I am going to indulge in one of my famous red herrings. I am known for red herrings. I spent 2.5 years in Kosovo and learned Albanian, or at least the dialect that is Kosovar, as opposed to pure Albanian. And I am very fond of that part of the world. I only went into Albania a couple of times. It's an interesting part of the world. But if you go in on one of the rural border crossings, you would go into a world that is left behind by time. People in the fields are in traditional dress, not because they have a particular pride in that dress, but it is a practical dress for working in the fields in heat. There is a sign up on the nominal border point that says, security forces, submit your guns in here. And when they look at your passport, they type on an old typewriter. No computers for them. But delightful people. We were in the second largest town, which has one traffic light, a town called Skodra. We found a restaurant where the food was great. The wine came in Coca-Cola bottles, and a waiter was deputed to hold a hose to wash down the car in the baking heat. He wanted to be inside with his mates because there was a World Cup going on. But he stoically made sure that our Jeep actually was looked after. That is my impression of Albania. But Dieter Emir, I still speak a little. and I'm old. I don't pick up new languages very easily. But anyway, Albania has snubbed Starmer in his quest for help with illegal immigrants. And fastest growth for the economy, we'll have to find out what that's all about. So let's go to the papers. The Times. Talks with up to 9 nations for asylum deal. That is the headline in the Times. The fallout from Albania's rejection of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's migrant deal dominated Friday's papers. The Times reports that after Albania rejected the plan, Britain is poised to enter talks with up to 9 countries about plans to deport asylum seekers. Sharing the top slot is a photo of the Ukrainian suspect charged with arson over attacks at properties linked to the Prime Minister. The Daily Mail. Starmer left squirming by Albania farce. Plan to send asylum seekers to the Balkans implodes on live TV. Ooh. The Daily Mail says the Prime Minister has been left squirming by Albanian farce and sums up the failed deal as a humiliation for Starmer as his plan to send asylum seekers to the Balkans imploded on live TV. Elsewhere, the paper also touts an exclusive into the how Brooklyn Beckham and his wife bonded with the Sussexes over dinner. Well, I'll tell you, I would be very, very careful how you bond with the Sussexes. They have not proved to be extrovert friends. They are an introverted couple who look after themselves first, and then anybody else a poor second. The Eye. UK's scrambles for a new migrant deal in the Balkans after Albania snub. The UK scrambles for new migrant deals in the Balkans after Albania snub. That reads the headlines in the Eye. That paper reports the Prime Minister is expected to begin talks today with countries throughout, thought to include Bosnia, Serbia, and North Macedonia, which could act as return hubs for failed asylum seekers from the UK. Let's see. Bosnia, I know. Serbia, I know. And North Macedonia, I know. I suppose any one of those three could. They each have got their own problems. The year I spent in Bosnia, they didn't have a government. They couldn't come to grips. Bosnia's designation is BIH, Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is three separate ethnic communities, none of whom has similar ambitions or objectives. Serbia, the senior country of the Balkans, locks up people at the drop of a hat. And North Macedonia is rather a pleasant. We used to go down there for rest and recreation. But it is an impoverished part of the world. And Macedonian Airlines, I flew from, let's see, North Macedonia. I've forgotten the capital. It'll come back to me in a moment. I flew from there in what in those days was called I've even forgotten that. But that was a very shaky ride in that airline, I can tell you. The Daily Telegraph. Children to be taught to show some grit. Wow. That's children to be taught to show some grit, reads the Daily Telegraph, as the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, and the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, penned a story calling for children to be prepared for life's ups and downs in schools. Alongside a large photo of the Ukrainian charged over Starmer firebombs, is also dominates the front page. That is in reference to a terrorist, if you like, who has threatened the Prime Minister with arson, with firebombing, and has been caught and held by Scotland Yard. Financial Times. Lost millions arms deals that cost Kyle. Economy registers fastest growth in a year as Trump tariff impacts loom. Britain's economy has expanded at its fastest pace in a year in the first quarter, the Financial Times reports. The paper calls it a boost to Labour before any impact from US President Donald Trump's tariffs. Lost millions in an arms deal that left Ukraine exposed also took top spot. The Guardian. Thames Water to be blocked from paying bonus. Right, yes, The Guardian. Thames Water to be blocked from paying bonuses out of £3 billion loan. UK ministers plan to use new powers to block bosses at Thames Water from taking bonuses worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. Britain's biggest water company admitted this week they were in line for substantial bonuses linked to an emergency £3 billion loan. Elsewhere, Zelensky, president of Ukraine, President Zelensky is sending a team for talks in Istanbul with Russia. Metro. Tom is impossible to resist, even if the silly script is a lot bit sillier. £9.5 billion staggering cost of benefit fraud and claim clangers, reads the headline. The Metro leads with the staggering cost of benefit fraud at more than £9 billion of taxpayers' money has been overpaid in benefits, mostly through fraud, sharing the front page. And I don't think that this one has got one of its famous lines today. Right, the Sun. The foreign sec yelled, "Effing French" at me, says a fair row cab driver. Oh, this is an interesting one. David Lammy hired a cab to take him to a resort in France and fell out with a taxi driver on the way and failed to pay the fee, or all of it. Taxigate looms large on the Sun's front page as it scores an exclusive interview on the dispute between Foreign Secretary David Lammy and a cab driver. Do you know what happened to Maddie? A smirk, but not a reply. An exclusive Mirror front page. Maddie, of course, is Madeleine McCann, who disappeared when she was, 2? Several years ago now. The Daily Mirror asks, do you know what happened to Maddie, as it promotes its exclusive interview with the chief suspect? Daily Express. Mum deserves peace of mind in the right wrong right to die fight. Okay, that took a bit of interpreting. Just going back over it again. A mom deserves peace of mind in the right to die fight is the way it should read. The Express says a mum deserves the peace of mind in right to die fight, as Rebecca Wilcox urges Mrs. Esther Call. It says the Daily Star. Her Madge, happy and glorious. Fergie Ghost claims. Right. Her Madge, yappy and glorious. Only the Star can come up with that, I think. It is the Star, yes. What the Star says is Queen Elizabeth has been talking from beyond the grave through her corgis. The Duchess of York says, I'm sure it's her. When things go woof, woof. Huh. Well, those are the front pages. A mixed bag this morning, but mostly that Starmer, having made brave noises about what he was going to do to solve the migration crisis when he took office, has been once again thwarted. We've been to Africa, we've been to the Balkans, we've been even in our own backyards to see whether we can fix this problem of undermanning and over There's not a great deal happening in the sports world either. Aston Villa play Tottenham this evening, and the outcome of that will mean one or the other will go into the Champions League. Everything else is more or less sorted except for the last day of play, which I believe is next week. So if you want tickets for any of the matches being played on that day, get them now. Don't take the chance of being spoiled. Well, let's go back to the studio, which today is my living room, and wend our weary way through the day. I'm not absolutely sure what's happening locally. I know what the front page is. It's making deals with people with dogs, I believe, to get them. What should we say? To get them doing something while we seem to be in that phony war period again. But we introduced to you our latest correspondent yesterday, a gentleman called Quinton Peel, ex-Financial Times, very articulate, very knowledgeable, spent a lot of time in Russia and in various smaller countries, scratching a living from hand to mouth, I guess. No, it's not quite that bad. But certainly they will be mixing with people who still wear Christian Webb. Right, okay. Now, this business of illegal immigrants has been rumbling on for decades. It has finished more political careers, and it looks as if it's going to finish another one. Starmer was firmly rejected and on Albanian television while he was making his pitch. But I was particularly caught up with a big full-page story he said, and it isn't where I thought it was, but I can tell you what the story is. And that is the cozying up to the Sussexes of film stars and celebrities. You'd think that they understand that ignoring parts of the establishment is counterproductive. As much as it may be popular in one area, it's downright debilitating in another. And that's what it's all about, is the shower materials in David Lammy's proposal. Actually, he's not proposing shower materials. Essentially, he's suggesting a slightly more integrated approach to friends and family, and I'm happy to say I have with me Mr. Philip.
You do indeed, Mr. Keith.
Good morning, Mr. Philip.
You're on very good form this morning, if I may happily say so.
Well, I had a quick coffee, and it always boosts me, and I know it boosts you too. That in a world that can be very cynical, that we are shown enormous kindness. And once again this morning, I was shown enormous kindness because I was tottering. Um, the girls plugged my scooter in and pulled it out and made sure that I was secure in it before I left. And I left the coffee shop, and quite by accident, just not literally, but a lady stopped to talk to me. And she was a food inspector, and she was fascinating. And she was describing to me how she had once been in a wheelchair and had a hen or something of the sort perched on her lap. She was quite amusing, really. So it got me off to a good start. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pleased to be back with you on a Friday, hence the title I've adopted. I am Man Friday. Yeah, I just came on early to say hello and just to gently remind that there's a pre-recorded starting at 9 o'clock.
Indeed. And one of my favourite people, um, John Prideaux, a very good friend of yours,
Yes.
and he was recounting with tongue in cheek the way that you send him nasty notes about his dirty car.
Yeah, well, he retaliated. He got his revenge on me by sending me a long email purporting to be from yeah, that's right, the right to drive a dirty car consortium, and listing as if the car had human rights, he's a very, very funny man.
Yes, he is. Very
And
talented man.
oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. But no, the humour's very deadpan, which is funny, you know. And his wife is lovely. Sarah is just delightful, and she finds it very, very funny when the banter gets going. So yes, so I have found in the library, I've found a number of his programs which we can send out whenever you like. I did list. Sorry, wrong word. I did schedule some stuff for Tuesday, but I've removed that. I haven't removed the programs because it occurred to me that I hadn't asked you. Because at the moment it's just 2 days a week, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The plan is to try and grow backwards because what we've got is 2 days of pretty solid stuff now.
Yes.
We had an unfortunate situation yesterday where and it was the only unfortunate situation that we've had. The new system seems to be making the technology work okay, except it did not work with John Henty yesterday, and nobody knows why. But we got 2 solid days of really good programming, and so my plan is now is to build backwards. So we'll start to populate people on a Wednesday, and we've already got one returnee, hopefully, who will perhaps appear on a Wednesday. Norman Baker has agreed to do a spot as you know, he's he was a minister of transport, and Lewis particularly is a hub for transport. You can get anywhere on a ferry, on trains, on roads, on foot. You name it, and you can get anywhere from Lewis. So it's appropriate that we have an expert on transport. And we introduced yesterday, as an associate of Stuart Dolby's, a gentleman called Quinton.
Doesn't matter. I noticed that his first name is Quinton. Yeah, Quentin.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just my moment of Parkinson's that makes me forget names when I know them perfectly well. But anyway, he is a former Financial Times man who spent a lot of time in Moscow, strangely enough. And of course, I spent some time in Moscow, so we had some things in common. But we were able to actually analyze the nature of Trump and Putin to see what sort of dangers they presented to a normal society. So we're motoring again, and with John Prideaux's programs, which are always very, very well received, we are beginning to slowly climb up again, but so that we can manage it, Philip, not bung everything in at once.
Yes, well, I won't do it on air, but I need to update you about the John Henty situation. Basically, I invited him on today, and he sent me a perfectly polite email back, but let me speak in code. He's done a Harry on us.
All right, okay.
It's a shame that it was with him that the technology failed. And there we are. But
well, I mean, I spend 8 days a week on Mirador, trying hard to look after it. I do my very best, and there are some things that are just beyond my control. And I've come to the conclusion that if people want to get, fairy about it, there's nothing I can do. But we are getting more and more people such as yourself, people of knowledge and quality, that actually we don't notice the loss of people the way that we used to. So I really think that people have to make up their own minds.
Yes, but I just thought I'd make you aware. It may be temporary, it may not. I mean, I am back with you because I don't want to see the thing disappear any more than you do. And I can happily do Fridays. There may be the odd exception, but Jackie's on side with it for a Friday.
Good.
So that should work.
Well, the only thing that worries me is to see the loss of really talented people. Because with all due respect, organizations like this are not coming out of the woodwork. And it is sad that there isn't the outlet for people such as yourself, obviously very, very talented, obviously very, very intelligent, and obviously very articulate. And if I do nothing else, if I provide a forum for people such as yourself, then I'm performing a service.
Well, I mean, thank you, but you flatter me too much. But yes, it is nice to have a platform, an outlet where I can speak and discuss with others, which keeps me going. In other words, it helps me not to lose my articulateness, which was what carried me through the job for 40 odd years. An instance, as we're speaking now, nothing is going wrong. It's a clear, intelligent conversation, as it generally is between us. And there's no problem. There's no problem. And I can keep an eye on the technology again, even more than on a Friday. I mean, for example, I found that the library was full. So we were maxed up on the hours we were allowed. So I've trimmed that down because there's a lot of repeat stuff in there.
Yes.
So there's now plenty of room in the library, but I have retained programs that I think we can happily send out as repeat programs.
Yes.
Ironically, there's one I found from John Hensey. There's one from Kit, and there's at least 2 from Prido. And these are valuable archives, and that will build up as we go on and on and on.
Yes. It shows even a small organization like ours could do with an archivist. I mean, I hadn't realized that we are well over 5 years old, and that everything that we've ever done is actually archived on YouTube. And
yes.
There's a huge amount, but it's not catalogued.
No, it's not. We just have to ensure that we retain in our library what is valuable. A lot of it isn't, frankly.
No. If we hit 100% every day, we'd be a remarkable organization.
No. But some of them are nuggets, frankly. Some of them are really good.
Yes.
Well, look, I will leave the studio now. I will be back with you at 10 o'clock, and we'll take it from there.
All right. I shall wait for an invitation to join your program at 10, and I will say Toodle Pip now, so that we can bring on John Prido at 9.
Yes. Well, I've sent you a link already for today. That should be in your inbox.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that once I get off the air and I can check my emails, that I will find it.
All right.
Okay. See you later.
Alligator.
All right. Good to talk to you, Philip. Okay. So there we are. Break an egg. A potpourri. We never know quite what we're going to talk about at 8 o'clock in the morning, except that we do look at what's happening in the world, because it's important for us to know what is happening beyond our borders. We'll be with John Prido in about 5 minutes' time, and then back again with Philip and myself and Melissa Conti from New York at 10 o'clock. So until then, let's say toodle pip. If we can just do our famous. There we go.